What's up, readers? It's Ryan here, and I want to introduce a very special book to you all today. So, one of my friends, writers, and fellow classmates, Aaron Kirk, recently released his new book, The Hill. It's about his time in Afghanistan as an infantry marine squad leader, and it is just absolutely fascinating. It's got gripping narrative and prose. It was a great read. I feel fortunate enough to have both read the manuscript last year and the final version, so I'll make sure to leave links to the book down in the description or the comments or whatever. So Kirk emphasizes a couple interesting things in this book. One is that, like, most of our infantrymen overseas are super young and they're bearing enormous responsibilities. You know, he talks about leading a shura with, a lot of Afghan village elders that are like thrice his age. Meanwhile, he's 21, he's got a Blink 182 tattoo, and he realizes that he'll finally be old enough to drink a beer when he gets home. The other thing is indoctrination into the Marine Corps way, which I thought was super interesting. He talks about, rescuing an ANA interpreter, but he has to tuck his bootlaces in first before he can go do that. He's constantly being watched by his superiors and can't wear like an out-of-regs hat or anything. So, that part of the book was something he could, describe far better in his pages than I ever could in a video review form, especially since I was never a Marine, as a soldier. I feel like America has this fetishization with special operations forces, and that, like, at Barnes & Noble, most of the covers for the books about the global war on terror flash SEAL tridents or, special forces, ranger, qualified sniper, whatever. And, that's cool and everything. I spent most of my career attached to special forces, and that was a lot of fun. But I feel like the infantryman is very overlooked in the literary space. And I think that fetishization with special operations forces does them a huge disservice, because what they do is amazing. They're the backbone of the military. They, oftentimes carry heavier loads on more dangerous missions with inferior equipment and less support, staying in much worse accommodations. I'd like to see us in the veteran community start to recognize this, that, you don't have to be an operator to have, like, a super tough yet amazing deployment. The irreverent comic relief that Kirk talks about when, the bullets aren't flying and the soldiers are bored is a really good addition to the book, and it breaks up just the consistent, intense narrative that that he brings to the table in his prose. The only major critique that I would have with this book is that it doesn't really have a lot of pictures, except for it's got one of the author, who is much more handsome than I am. So, no, for real, I think that it would be really cool if he would have included pictures from his deployment in this book. I think that would have added a little bit to the immersion. But you can find a lot of those pictures on his Instagram, which is @memoirsofaGrunt or memoirsofaGrunt.com. So with all that being said, The Hill is bound to be a timeless literary classic of the global war on terror, reminiscent of Ray Mark's All Quiet on the Western Front, both in story, in prose, and in the, ability to really step into these guys' shoes and kind of get a glimpse of what they're really dealing with. So, I recommend this book to anybody, to, veterans, to people in the military right now, to civilians who just want to understand a little bit more what it's like. It's super gripping. It's only like 276 pages, so you could read this thing in just a few days. Very worthy, one of my favorite books, bound to be a classic. So, I really appreciate Aaron Kirk and letting me review his book, The Hill. I feel really honored to be brought into this project. So, thanks to him. To you, much love. Let's talk about this book in the comments. I want to discuss this kind of like a book club. So, let me know what you think. Order it at memoirsofaGrunt.com, and have a great day.